All right, let's jump right into this explainer. If you've been following along with our recent deep dives, you know we've really been exploring the foundations of creating beautiful interactive charts. But today we're shifting gears. We are moving away from your standard everyday web charts and stepping into the deep end, building heavy-duty, highly customized, and super performance-sensitive data applications. And the powerhouse tool that unlocks all of this? It's called Bokeh. To really set the stage, let's look at where Bokeh actually sits in our overall visualization journey. It's kind of an evolution, right? We started with Matplotlib, which is absolutely fantastic for static plotting. Then we checked out Plotly, which gave us those highly accessible, interactive web-based charts. Well, Bokeh bridges a massive gap here. It takes that interactive, web-based nature of Plotly, but scales it up completely for heavy-duty dashboards and entirely custom data applications. It is literally built for massive scale and deep customization. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by introducing Bokeh, then cover figures and glyphs, handling massive datasets, the interactive server and widgets, a head-to-head of Bokeh versus Plotly, and finally, a real-world application. Let's kick things off with Section 1, introducing Bokeh, built for custom data apps. Moving right into Section 2, architecture, focusing on figures and glyphs. Now, Bokeh gives you those sweet interactive web features, like hovering, zooming, panning right in the browser, just like Plotly. But beneath the surface, it operates on a totally different core philosophy. It prioritizes really low-level developer control so you can build truly custom applications. Building a Bokeh chart is a very deliberate step-by-step process. It's actually a lot like building a house. After a quick pip install and importing your tools, you create a figure object. Think of that as pouring your blank foundation. Once that foundation is set, you literally layer specific visual methods right on top of it. You might call .line to add a line chart, or maybe .circle for a scattle plot. And then finally, you call the show function, which magically spins up your interactive chart right there in your web browser. And that brings us to a genuinely distinctive concept in the Bokeh ecosystem, glyphs. You can think of glyphs as your granular, physical building blocks. Basically, a glyph is just a specific visual shape that represents your data. So a line, a circle, a square, a bar, you get the idea. You build your complete visualization by layering one or more of these individual glyphs onto that shared figure foundation we just talked about. This approach is huge because it gives you immense power to completely customize non-standard visualizations, literally piece by piece, exactly the way you want them drawn. Which brings us to Section 3, handling massive data sets. We're talking millions of points. So granular control is great and all, but what happens when you have way more data than a standard web browser can actually handle? We're talking over 1 million individual data points. Attempting to interactively render that much data is just going to freeze or completely crash most standard visualization tools. It's simply too much information for the browser's memory to process all at once. But here's the thing. Bokeh was explicitly engineered to tackle exactly this challenge from day one. How does it do it? Bokeh handles this massive scale through a specialized technique called data shading. Data shading is brilliant. It smartly aggregates these enormous datasets down into a much more manageable form before the data ever even hits the screen. It basically calculates exactly what the human eye can actually perceive at whatever your current zoom level is, and it only renders that. Because of this, neither your browser nor your viewer is ever overwhelmed. You get smooth, fluid interaction no matter how huge the dataset is. No more crashed browsers, no more frustrated end users. It's a real game changer. Let's look at Section 4 now, interactive server and widgets. Moving past just plotting massive amounts of static data, this is where Bokeh really levels up from being just a charting library into a full-fledged application framework. The secret sauce here is a command called Bokeh serve. Unlike Plotly, which usually relies on a totally separate framework like Dash to handle real-time backend updates, Bokeh actually has a server component built right in. This built-in server lets your underlying Python code respond dynamically to whatever the user is doing, in real time. The server is always listening, instantly updating your application based on the live Python code you wrote. And how do users actually interact with that server? Through widgets, of course. Bokeh comes packed with a rich library of built-in tools. We're talking sliders, drop-down menus, buttons, text input boxes, the whole shebang. When you connect these built-in widgets to your live Python server logic, you transform what would be a static chart into a highly interactive internal tool. A user drags a slider, the server recalculates the data, and boom, the chart updates instantly. Plus, it integrates seamlessly with Pandas data frames and geographic mapping libraries, making it an absolute powerhouse for building really complex, data-driven tools.
Now, as a quick aside, while we're exploring this ecosystem, I definitely have to mention a related library called Hollow Views. Because Bokeh requires you to build everything from the ground up using those granular glyphs, writing the code can sometimes feel a bit verbose. Well, Hollow Views gives you a remarkably concise, higher-level interface that layers directly on top of Bokeh's detailed architecture. It essentially lets data scientists write way less code while still taking full advantage of Bokeh's incredibly powerful back-end rendering.
All right, Section 5, Bokeh versus Plotly. Let's do a direct comparison. Since these two tools solve broadly similar problems, let's put them head-to-head really quick so you can confidently choose the right one for your next project. Plotly, specifically using Plotly Express, gives you a higher-level interface that's undeniably faster and more convenient if you just need to generate standard reports. Bokeh, on the other hand, gives you that granular, glyph-based approach. Yeah, it's going to have a steeper initial learning curve for sure, but the payoff is massive when you need to scale. Plotly is good, but it's ultimately limited by the browser. Bokeh, exceptional, all thanks to that data shading technique. And finally, for server logic, remember that Plotly requires you to bring in the separate Dash framework, while Bokeh just has Bokeh serve baked right in.
Let's wrap things up with Section 6, the real-world application.
To really cement all of this, I want you to picture a high-stakes, realistic professional scenario where you'd skip the standard tools and immediately reach for Bokeh. Imagine you're tasked with building a demanding internal monitoring dashboard for your company. This dashboard has to track thousands of individual sensors, and the data is streaming in continuously. We're talking massive data updating second by second, and the dashboard absolutely must remain fully responsive for the engineers who are monitoring it. This right here is exactly the scenario where Bokeh's built-in server architecture and data shading capabilities will completely outshine almost anything else out there.
So what's the bottom line here? When do you actually choose it? Well, you should absolutely default to Plotly for your fast, convenient, standard interactive charts. But you pull out Bokeh when your project demands massive scale, completely custom interactivity, and built-in Python server logic to drive internal tools. It is without a doubt the heavy lifter of the visualization world.
But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a completely different thought. Everything we've looked at so far involves explicitly telling the computer how to draw a chart, step by step. But what if you could build visualizations using an entirely different underlying philosophy altogether, something called a declarative visualization grammar? Well, in our next explainer, we're going to unpack a tool called Altair and its completely unique approach to building charts. You definitely won't want to miss it. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.